16th of September 23, and I'm talking about the triple lock in the UK for pensioners, where they get either 2.5% or the increase in average earnings or inflation, whichever is the highest. So with inflation being so high at the moment, they're getting about sort of 8.5% or something. But to me, really it just depends if the government can afford it and if it really is necessary, you know what I mean? So I don't feel strongly about this, but it's one of these things that, you know, the lefties say, oh, you've got to just give pensioners more. I mean, how much more? £1,000 a week, you know, if we can't afford that, you know, because we're top heavy now with pensioners. So if we can't afford that, then I don't see the point of it's going to break us eventually. So yeah, so maybe even keep it at 2.5% in my opinion. I don't know. It's not something I feel really strongly about, but it's one of these things that is annoying. That's just golden locked, and ironically, it was Osborne and that brought it in, and Osborne and it may have been Gordon Brown actually, but I think Osborne and that really solidified it. Cameron and they were the ones of this austerity, which to me, I didn't really know if it was a good idea or not. Boris Johnson didn't think it was a good idea. He thought it was like after the war, when they had rations. He mentioned, did they need to have rations for so long? Probably not, you know, the way Gordon Brown was going to deal with austerity was to pump more money in so that people would buy stuff, because it seems we're a consumer economy. We're based on people spending money. But the Tories got in and they took the other thingy, where they cut public funding. And so maybe that message to the people was, don't buy things because everybody's cutting back, it's austerity. So to me, I think the 2008 crash, Gordon Brown probably got it right, more right. You know, he was pumping money at that time, but then he voted it a year or so later, and they probably done quite well with that crash, you know, because I mean it was catastrophic. It was caused by the capitalism, you know. Basically, the things didn't know who they'd loan to, the investment banks. Yeah, so now, this triple lock thing. I mean, to me, you need to do away with it. Really, it's just it doesn't seem viable to me. I mean, I'm not saying that as a sort of right winger or anything, you know. Just common sense, I think. As long as I've got enough to see them through, or and a bit of luxury. I mean, what do pensioners do nowadays? I mean, 65 isn't even old nowadays. I think they are putting the pension up, you know, it's like 68 now or something, but you probably even need to go up to 70, really. But yeah, apparently George Fawkes, who was one of these angry Scottish Labour MPs, now he's a Lord, of course. That's one thing I respect SNP for. They don't accept any lordships or into the House of Lords. But Lord Fawkes, yeah, probably at one time he was a very angry young upstart in the Labour Party, and then like most of them, it's poacher turns gamekeeper really. But now he's head of the all-party political committee or whatever on ageism or whatever, and he's saying they need to keep this triple thing. And apparently Keir Starmer hasn't said he's going to definitely keep it, and he's personally, I think that means he won't. But I mean, he's a total disaster. You can't trust his word in anything. You know, he just swings one way and the other. Yeah, so apparently the Silver Voices protest group are calling on ministers to honour a triple lock, which was backed in a position by more than 31,000 people. Rishi Sunak is now considering altering the way the link to average earnings works. This is from the Daily Express. pensioners would be handed an 8.5% increase if the calculation is carried out in the same way it always has been since the lot was introduced. By who? By who? Osborne, I think. I don't know. Maybe Labour. But the Treasury is looking at whether to strip out the impact of public sector bonuses, which would reduce next April's rise to 7.8%. So I agree with that anyway, you know. Because inflation's going to go down just naturally. It's going to go down to like 4%, 3%. We may even have a bit of deflation in a lot of food things. It doesn't look like it at the moment, but I think that's the manufacturers using it as an opportunity of opportunism, you know. They're just saying, oh well, we'll take this chance to up our prices and never bring them down. As they say about petrol, that it gets up like a rocket and comes down like a feather, you know. So what else is Sir Keir Starmer has dodged calls to back the pledge this week, saying only that there would be a fair and decent pension if he becomes Prime Minister. Well, I agree with that totally. Lord George Fox, co-chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Ageing and Older People, said it was vital that the triple lock is protected. So anyway, that's just my point. I don't agree with it, you know. If it's one of these things, it depends how much it's putting the kitty out of balance, you know. I saw somewhere that it was costing 600 million. I think it's a lot more than that. And then we have a case study from a British rail worker. It doesn't say anywhere how much his income is, but he's saying they really need to have this 8.5% increase, plus my carers deserve their pay rise. So he doesn't see any, he's wanting double helpings really, isn't he? So Mr Smith has a small private pension which pushed him out just over the threshold to qualify for pension credit, because we've got pension credit for the poor OAPs, you know, to top up their pension. So I don't know, it's just getting really crazy. I mean, really you've got to say how much income should the person have, and then it's not just go across the board, you know, 8.5% or whatever. I mean, I think Alan Sugar probably gets a pension, I don't know. Probably entitled. So, yeah, that's, and here's Lord Fox talking about it. I don't know. I couldn't vote Labour or SNP or Lib Dems or anything. I'm not really a Tory supporter of that either. There's other things. I would vote on a single issue, really, so I don't really. Yeah, but that's just the triple lock thing, you know. Be sensible, people. At some point they will be sensible, you know. It's a bit like these banning XL billies, you know. People come up from all sorts of complex reasons why we shouldn't. Then it kills someone. Next day, and the same day the Prime Minister says they're being banned, you know. It's going to be the same. I suppose you have to wait for the public to come round to it, you know. Anyway, that's it. Okay, goodbye.